Hello! In this video, we are going to see how the substitution planner in Additio App's timetable generator works. This feature is not by default in all accounts. You must request it, but once you request it, you will have it in your account. The substitution planner can be found here in Substitution Planner. We see that there are different options. If we go to Settings, we can configure two things. One is whether we want to require a reason to create an absence, and then if we want that, we can decide whether we want to require a reason from a list. So we can write down reasons, for example, sick, maternity leave, or anything that we want to write down. And instead of having an open text option, we will need to choose a reason from this list. Then we shouldn't really touch that, but we can change the way that the program does the suggestions. This is created so that it's already configured and set up, but if you want to change something, you can do that here. And then you can also decide whether the program will choose we prefer teachers that teach the same subjects or teachers that teach the same groups whenever a teacher is absent. And so this is where we can set up all the settings for the substitution planner. So in order to manage the different substitutions and absences, we will need to go to Substitution Planner and we can go to Absence Management. Here we can see a list of all the absences that we have created, and we can even filter them. With this icon, we can filter them by pending, by completed, or anything that we want to filter by. And so this is an option we should consider. If we want to create a new exception, a new absence, we can go here and then here we can configure a new absence. For example, we can choose the teacher, the group, or the room. For example, if teachers are missing, or for example, if a specific room is not available someday, then we can choose it here. Then we can choose who is absent, for example, Alberto or whoever. And then we can choose the reason within the list that we created before. For example, he's sick. Then if we go to the calendar, we can choose when he's absent. For example, today, tomorrow, 1 day, 1 week, whatever. When we choose some days, we can also configure the time. So if a teacher is only absent 1 day and a half, we can do that. And then we can create the exception. The next step is to manage this new exception, this new absence that we have created. To do that, we need to go to Handle. When we click here, this is our work tool. We see in a different column the day that Alberto, for example, is missing, and so we can work with the different classes that he has. For example, we can click on one class and we can see whether we want to cancel the lesson, whether we want to, for example, change the teacher, and so on. For example, here, if we click on the list of teachers, we see that with a color in these teachers that have a color mean that these teachers are not available. However, other teachers are available. We can click, for example, on this teacher, and then we can make any changes that we want to. We can also add comments, and whenever we have changed everything that we want to change, we can go here and click on the tick to mark as handle. Once we do that, if we go to the Substitution Planner Absence Management to the list, we see that this status is completed. Where do we see the changes? Changes are seen in two places. One is in the Substitution Planner timeline. Here we can see all the changes made by weeks. If a class was cancelled, if a teacher was changed into another teacher, and so on. And then all these changes can also be seen in the public timetable that is shared so that everyone can see the change of hours, the change of teachers, or anything else. We also want to inform you that soon it will also be synchronized with the academic part of Additio App, so stay tuned.